So good morning, all my beautiful friends. It is always my great joy to be able to stand up here with you. I love what I do here, teaching the truth that I know, and you are the reason I love it so much. So if you haven't heard me say it before, thank you. Every day when I leave here, doesn't matter what's happening, every day when I leave here, I could have a whole variety of feelings, right? Or I could be stressed out, as it seems that so many people are these days, but there is only one feeling I ever have, and that's gratitude. It is overwhelming gratitude, and I mean that. Mike and the boys, they probably say they have to, but they hear me express that about my time here constantly. But I realized last night that I don't think I properly told you how I feel. So again, thank you. You are a gift to me. Whether you're here in person or watching or listening online, you are a gift to me, really. And I just wanted to put that out there. Now, let's get to why I'm up here talking in the first place. This is talk 2 in this new series on the idea of the mirage and how that equates to our lives. Last week, we talked about the difference between an illusion and a mirage, right? We learned that an illusion can be entirely subjective, a trick of an individual's mind or even a personal misunderstanding. But a mirage is seen the same way by all present. It is only the story that we attach to what we see that changes. And this week, the work begins. I'm going to ask Paul there to pass out some cute little notebooks and pens. You didn't know you were coming here to work, did you? I have to ask you, what is the reason to come if you don't want to see your life changed for the better? Because life changes here. I don't want to soothe you with spiritual wisdom that you can't use. I want to see you walk out these doors, close the app, fully prepared and capable of living a wonderful, stress-free, abundant life right here. In this society, in this day and age, where it seems that people are screaming about how awful everything is everywhere you look. And that happens when you do the work. It doesn't have to be hard work, it just has to be consistent and willing and sincere. You'll have to be vulnerable with yourself throughout the next few weeks and fearlessly honest with yourself, but also both kind and loving. But if you do these things for yourself, you will change your world. And in so doing, you will change the world all around you just by refusing to buy the hype and narratives everyone's being told is reality, because you won't be able to see or hear any of their noise anymore. Perhaps we will see that the story of this world being a dark and dismal place in a dark and dismal time is just a mirage. And maybe we'll see that heaven has been here all along. Okay, does everyone have a notebook and a pen? Yes, good. So first off, I want to calm any frightened thoughts that may be creeping in, because I am not going to check your work. This is not a flashback of school. This is not going to be graded or judged in any way. If you don't do the work, nobody will know but you. Just understand that if that's the choice that you make, you'll probably continue seeing the world and your place in it and the way you see your life in exactly the same way you do now. And maybe you think that doesn't sound so bad. Maybe you like the status quo and you want to stay in the place that you know rather than expanding into something bigger. And that's okay. But just consider that maybe there is something more for you. Maybe there's something wonderful waiting to be awakened in you, something which has been waiting for just a little bit of homework like this. So for those of you who are willing to participate, I'd like you to write down one question. And I would like you to answer this question during the upcoming week, beginning today, every time ideas come to you. And the question is simple. Who are you? You may bullet out a list or write a sonnet or an essay or a tome. The Iliad and the Odyssey need not have anything on you. It is entirely up to you. Just write it down and keep it with you. You'll want to bring that back every single week because you'll be revisiting what you write as we move along with a different viewpoint to consider about it all each week. So this next bit is not part of your homework. It's totally optional. But if you feel like sharing, please take a picture of your pages and send them to me. We're going to call that extra credit. And the reason I'm asking is not because I want to show them to anybody. It's just that seeing what you wrote may help me see areas of teaching that I couldn't otherwise see. And that's really valuable to me. And it's valuable to everyone else who is doing this exercise with you. So if you're doing this at home, the same goes for you. My email address should be on the screen. I don't know because I can't see it. Is it? Cool. I know that my Nimble mic is keeping that visible for those of you watching from the SAC account. If you are watching from my account and you didn't catch that slide, post a comment in the feed and I will send you my email address personally, okay? So consider the question, who are you? I spent half of the week narrowing that question down to the essential truth of everyone. And I am hopeful that if I do this correctly, you'll end up with the same realization by the end of the series. Yesterday, I did some deep diving into how different faith traditions answer the question of who we are. Us humans walking the earth at any given time, who we are. Okay? And although the way each of them apply their belief teaches, their belief to that differs widely, there are echoes. In the Abrahamic faiths, which are, for those of you who don't know, Christianity, Judaism, and believe it or not, Islam. That is an opinion that most people hold outside of Abrahamic faith. And yet, they're one of the earliest. So in that faith, we are described as beings created in the divine image, the imago Dei, Dei meaning God. In this view, humans hold a unique sacred status, possessing both free will and the capacity for deep love, morality, and reason. In Hinduism, we are described as Atman, which translates to the eternal divine soul or true self. The physical body and ego are viewed as temporary vessels or illusions. Shocker, right? And that is called Maya, while our deepest essence is identical to the ultimate reality of the universe, which is Brahman. In Buddhism, we are described as impermanent, ever-changing beings made up of 5 aggregates, and those are physical form, sensations, perceptions, mental formations and consciousness. Buddhism teaches that we are in truth in a state of anatta, which is of no self. That means that we are fundamentally interconnected with all things and lack a fixed, independent soul. Interesting. Indigenous and earth-centered traditions, many say that we are caretakers or relatives of the natural world, and human identity is deeply intertwined with the earth and plants, animals, and ancestors. In Jainism, we are, bless you, jivas, which are individual, eternal, and conscious souls. Each human soul is inherently pure and possesses infinite knowledge, power, and bliss. And they believe that our true nature is currently clouded and weighed down by physical karma. In Sikhism, it is believed that we are a manifestation of the Jyot. Okay, that is the divine light, that the human body is a sacred temple, and inside every individual rests a spark of the one supreme reality, which is the Vaheguru. Taoists believe that we are natural extensions of the Tao, that is the way, which is the underlying force of the universe. And in this model of belief, humans are not separate from nature, nor are they a superior creation. Hear me when I say that. That's important. Nor are they a superior creation. We are, they believe, a microcosm of the universe made of the same fundamental energies, yin and yang and qi. I could go on and on and on, but unless you are one of those rare souls who live to learn scholarly things, you are probably tuning me out a little already, right? I will not pretend that my theological digging is fascinating to everyone. I get it. I told you all of that to say that each tradition has their own way of seeing the whole of humanity and where we fit into the cosmos, and most are harmonious with each other in different ways. So beyond the official faith traditions, cultures have their own beliefs. So let me ask those of you here in this Western world, online or in person, how many of you believe that everyone has a soul? Show of hands. Okay. How many of you believe that your soul or other souls get multiple lifetimes, or that you've had past lives? Okay. How many of you believe that there is some balance of justice and that you have to pay back your spiritual debts, or that you'll be rewarded for the good stuff you've done? Anybody? Karma? Okay. How many of you just don't know? Yeah, and you aren't ready or likely to choose a firm or fixed belief about the spiritual nature of humanity? How many of you believe something else entirely that I've not even mentioned? It's interesting to think about, right? And one final question, which is, how many of you know that what you believe is true? Ooh, I got 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess hands gradually coming up. Okay, now, this is kind of a little side game of what if, all right? What if each scenario, what if every belief that each person has about these things is true for the one who believes it? What if they will experience in the hereafter exactly what they believe to be true? I am not saying that that is or is not the way that things work. I just like those what ifs. I think that they're really important when we talk about spiritual stuff. So we can agree that there are all sorts of different definitions of how humanity fits in with the cosmic divine, right? And we can also agree that any one of those might be true about the collective group of us, yes? We feel much more educated about these things at the very least, right? But none of them answer the question that's being asked. Who are you? The you that's listening to me prattle on, not, I don't want to hear you wax poetic. Although that is lovely, I want you to really sit down and introduce yourself to you. Okay? In the book of Psalms, the psalmist declares that God said, "Be still and know that I am." And I've always interpreted it this way, and I'm not sure where I got it, but this is how I've always heard it. And I know that I'm a different kind of duck, but again, my brain does these things. This is what I've heard. Be still and know that I am is God. And if that is so, it really changes the question of who are you, right? Because every answer starts with I'm. That's something to think about, isn't it? Now, before we close today, because I know I haven't covered anything major, I want to share with you a really well-known short story that's very, very powerful, and it's called The Egg by Andy Weir. And I've edited this down in length considerably so that you don't have to sit through the whole thing. It's written in 2-character style. So you will hear you as the person who, spoiler alert, just died, and I as the presence they meet. Okay? Don't worry if your mind wanders a little bit. That is normal. Just kind of let the story wash over you. It's only a few minutes long, and it carries a beautiful idea that ties directly into what we're exploring together in this series, who we really are beneath all the stories and the mirages. So here it is. It begins, you were on your way home when you died. It was a car accident. Nothing remarkable, but final. You left behind a wife and 2 children. The death was painless. One moment you were here, and the next you were somewhere else. You looked around. There was only emptiness. And then you met me. What happened? You asked. Where am I? You died, I said gently. But don't feel bad. Everyone dies. You were stunned. Are you God? Yes, I replied, I am. You immediately thought of your family. Will they be okay? I smiled. They'll be fine. Your children will remember you as perfect. Your wife will grieve, but part of her will feel relieved. Your marriage had been struggling, and she'll feel guilty about that relief, but she'll be all right. You took that in. And then you asked, what happens now? Heaven? Hell? Reincarnation? Reincarnation, I said. All religions are right in their own way. So we began to walk through the void together. You asked the natural question, when I'm reborn, won't I just be a blank slate? Won't everything I learned in this life be lost? No, I told you. You carry all the knowledge and experiences of every life you've lived. You just don't remember them right now. Your soul is far more vast and beautiful than a human mind can hold. This life is like dipping one finger into a glass of water. You only experience a small part of yourself, but when you pull back, you bring the knowledge of that experience with you. So you thought about that. How many times have I been reincarnated? Many times, I said, in many places. This next life, you'll be a Chinese peasant girl in 540 AD. You were stunned. Back in time? Time works differently where I come from, I explained. It only feels linear to you. Then came the part that shook you. There is no one else, I said. In this universe, there is only you and me. Every person who has ever lived or will ever live is you. Different incarnations of you. You stared at me. I'm everyone? I was Abraham Lincoln and John Wilkes Booth. I was Jesus and everyone who followed him. I was Hitler and every person he killed. Yes, I said, every time you hurt someone, you were hurting yourself. Every time you showed kindness, you were being kind to yourself. Every joy, every sorrow, every life that has ever been lived on earth, those were all your experiences. You were quiet for a long time. Why? You finally asked. What is the point of all of this? I looked at you with great love and said, because you are my child. You are growing, you are maturing. One day after you've lived every human life across all time, you will have grown enough to be born. You will become like me. You whispered, so the whole universe is just an egg, I said. And then I sent you on your way to your next life. Isn't that a beautiful story? I read it for the first time years and years ago, and I've kind of kept it in my wheelhouse. And I thought it was about time to dust it off. So who are you? I'm not asking you to tell me your fictional short story like this. I'm asking you to describe all of the things that make you you. This is not an exercise in metaphysics. This is an exercise in awareness this week. Let's start with the surface and then move deeper. Let's look at the mirage of you, then the illusions resting on top, and then find out who you really are. When all of the noise and the stories and the labels fall away, what remains? Explore fearlessly. You'll be okay, I promise. Trust that what comes forward is meant to be seen. If you don't allow yourself to see it, you risk abandoning the path in favor of an obstacle. Stay the course. I think you're going to be very, very surprised at who you are. Amen.